Strong Towns has written a lot about this, and I want to nuance it because the conversations I have with this start with how do we mitigate gentrification, and then the next piece immediately comes in and says, we don't like that because it results in displacement. Gentrification and displacement are two separate things. So I want to be clear on this, and I would just kind of want to rephrase how this might be and frame it, because I'm not sure that the concerns, at least in the experiences I've had in talking to folks, are really about gentrification. I think the concerns really are about displacement. And I would say displacement is far worse than gentrification. I mean, it's really nasty. And this is where Strong Towns, we've put a lot of focus on understanding this. Daniel wrote a really good piece about untangling gentrification and displacement, because when you start to dive into that, especially with low-income families, minority communities, people of color, we often find that they're seeing displacement from these gentrifying neighborhoods, and yet gentrification doesn't really, according to some of the research that Daniel's found, it's not usually that cause of displacement, and displacement can occur where there's not gentrification. So the Strong Towns approach with this, it recognizes that neighborhoods should naturally change and evolve over time. They need to be allowed to do that. So we just want to be cautious when we talk about these issues, that we're not talking about freezing and locking stuff in. Change needs to occur. But we also need to allow for a slow and steady approach that allows for incremental investment and development so that little bets can occur. So when we talk about these types of places that you see a lot of displacement occurring, where people are being pushed out and being moved around for pieces, basically because they can't live there. There's not the sustainable components of a neighborhood. They don't have access to jobs. They don't have access to grocery stores. Those are places that little bets need to occur, and where we probably, in a lot of communities, have overregulated it so that you can't have that. And I know Chuck has talked about this at times where, in some of these neighborhoods, let's let the little restaurant, the home kitchen turn into a restaurant dining occur, and give it 3 months without doing anything with it, and see if it sticks. Or if there's a commercial bay, what's the bare minimum that we can do or allow that people are safe, but it's not up to 100% building code with fire sprinklers and contractors building everything out, that and architects' plans and things like that. What are the bare minimums we could do to help support that? Those are the things that I think, to prevent that displacement, to make it so people can live there. The other thing is that we shouldn't be afraid in allowing wealth to occur in these neighborhoods. Now, if we look at a lot of the work that Urban 3 does and the mapping, the heat mapping, there's a lot that we have analysis of from them from Lafayette, Louisiana. And when you look at the most productive value per acre community or neighborhoods, they're actually what would be considered some of the poorest neighborhoods and of the city. They're not the shiny subdivisions. They're not the places you go and take pictures of. They're pretty rough neighborhoods. In those neighborhoods, what we should be doing is supporting those communities, so that right now, where property values may be stagnant or values have dropped, allowing for reinvestment there and assisting to increase the value of the property. Not these crazy market stuff we're seeing now that's artificial, but how do we work in those communities so that you can stabilize value and start to occur wealth at a 1% or 2% increase over time? So it's it allows for this change and uptake. So there's some code pieces with that, allowing things to happen. There's management of those places, allow little bets to occur. The Broad Street example that is in Memphis, where the community, went out and did a Better Block project and painted a road diet and did a big street celebration on 2 blocks. Allow those things to happen and see what results. So again, a little bet with a big result. So these places, people don't, they could stay there. They're not being displaced or forced out, which I think is really poor, because these are communities are important, and having that stability, I think, is very important to look at.